from it as well. My issue with VS is just she's gonna need to have a good start, right? But so far, like, you look at these two supports, Tide and Enchantress, and they're not that scary. They're just... Enchantress is very strong on lane, but Tide is a Ravage, basically. So she should have an okay time.
I agree with that, and I feel like that's why they're going to put Tide off lane, Mag mid, or Mag carry, and then... Just kidding. Nope. Okay, just kidding. Okay, that is a Tide support, or Magnus support.
I don't think you want support Mag at all. Like, that hero needs farm priority. Okay,
I mean, I'm just guessing.
Jenkins. So 23 Savage, who loves his Wraith King, one of the only players who really believes in this hero and asks for it. And the way that T1 have played it in this tournament, they just go for Armlet, Dessa, and they just run you over, right? And if you pair it up with this Batrider, he gets his timings, and this Magnus, who's going to empower 23 Savage to hit his timing earlier, I can see them actually succeeding in doing what they want to.
Tell me the strengths of Peaches then.
The strength of, I was going to say I really favor the T1.
No, tell me the strengths for Vici Gaming.
The strengths for Vici Gaming, well, they have a ton of minus armor and right-click damage in the late game. If the game goes late, they're definitely going to win, but I don't think it's going to go late.
Okay, that's a traditional Vici thing.
Their Roche potential is like quite high if they get a good fight somewhere, right? And Shadow Fiend can farm quickly enough to hopefully match Batrider if he doesn't get ganked, right? So Enchantress and Tide aren't the best heroes in ganking SF, so you can actually guarantee that he's going to have an okay time, right?
Well, now that we have gotten the game, we need to find out how to break this game down. You need to get rid of last word. You need a purge.
I love when people throw those like just casters, just very anonymous. Purge, I thought we were closer friends than that. Is it because I berate you for not asking for bacon? Sunsfan here with Synderen. Game 3 of this best of 3 Vici Gaming versus T1. Loser goes home. Winner faces off against the dominant IG. Synderen. Thoughts on this lineup? We get to see Vengeful Spirit. It's been a while.
Yep.
The minus armor strat with the Shadow Fiend. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of upsides to both strategies here, honestly. I will say, from my perspective, I've had a couple of games in this tournament I've been like, wow, this is just an amazing Batrider game, and it just hasn't really shown up that much. I do love the way Carl usually plays it though, so that has me a bit hopeful for T1. I think Batrider has to own in this game for it to really work, because if he doesn't, I just foresee the problem of T1, that the damage just becomes overwhelming. This Vici Gaming lineup has so insanely much damage. After they get 1 or 2 key items, we know what Venge Ags does to the game. She will be a terrible target for the RP for once. There's a hero you really don't want to RP. There's a hero you don't want to lasso. And Old 11 can effectively just play as like a frontline vision hero once he gets that Ags. So would imagine T1 will try to play very aggressive around their bat and see if they can get off to a good start off that lane primarily.
I mean, again, Magnus makes it through Synderen. Tiny makes it through, in fact. Treant Protector Band. Obviously, we saw T1 use that. It didn't have the biggest impact in the game that we specifically cast, but you can see the respect for T1, one of the few teams to bring something like that out. The Magnus, again, hero of the tournament for sure. As Payoyo is playing the position 1 Tiny this time around, and looks like Cuckoo, again, Magnus. No surprise, but we're looking at Carl mid against Ori. This is Batrider versus Shadow Fiend. Shadow Fiend feels like very susceptible to an early death here, but he has the advantage going right off the bat. Oh, denied. All right, as we have first, but Whitemon actually takes out PYW. It's an unexpected kill, Synderen.
Yeah. Obviously, Enchantress rotating down here for the 3-man gank will yield some sort of success, and Vici Gaming maybe not expecting this rotation, but Yeah, I think it's important for T1 to help out this bottom lane. You're playing Wraith King Tide at the start against Monkey King Venge. I think that's going to be, you know, Venge usually a hero we talk about how much are you going to lose the lane. Can actually win that one, but
Zephyr
the same
gets
thing top.
brought down top. Kuku still only level 1 right now, just getting completely harassed out. Throwing the tree, getting him very low. I mean, Monkey King just against any melee hero.
Dire's top tower is under
Pretty
attack.
rough, in addition to having Tiny to have to worry about.
Now the swap again. Vici Gaming are going to send the Disruptor bottom now to Venge instead of that Monkey King with the rotation that Monkey made top. And what this means is you now have double range against Wraith King, something he also doesn't like facing very much. Ench can't find a creep with this enchant. All the camps are blocked here. He has to go very far left to the Centaur camp that is currently presenting itself. Probably will see Whitemon do that and maybe see if he can look for a backstab move with that into the Wraith King. Or off the Wraith King Wraith Fire Blast, but yeah, Whitemon just looking, he was like, oh well, guess there's nothing for me. Comes back to lane. This is good news for Vici Gaming in that bot lane, I think. Venge should have an okay time, and
yeah,
okay is enough for Venge a lot.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of games with Venge off lane where it actually does horribly in the laning stage and still has huge impact once you get the Aghanim Scepter. So if you're able to not have a terrible start, then that's just going to make your game even better. But, I mean, what is the reason we haven't been seeing Venge as much? I mean, there was a slight nerf to the Ag, but I feel like it wasn't that big.
I still thought Venge was going to be a pretty big pick this tournament. I'm as surprised as you are. Like, I don't know if you're surprised. You just asked the question.
Very surprised. Whitemon and company going on top of Old 11. So we talked about the laning stage for this hero as DY looks to be next on the list for T1. Now, one more right click will do it. In fact, the Wraith Fire Blast being expended, so 23 Savage with an early double kill for T1.
Yeah, they bring down the Tide there to get that extra kill, but as a matter of fact, Venge just died to the dual lane. They were trying to kill Whitemon, but he obviously has Nature's Attendants and a Fairy Fire, and Venge Disruptor did not have enough in the tank, so regretting that go. They don't necessarily have to kill in this lane, you just need Venge to farm, and you can maybe poke and prod a little bit at the Wraith King, but I think going on Ench is a recipe for getting countered. And T1 with a very good response there. It's going to find now a Wildwing Ripper. Very annoying creep to lane against.
Yeah, it almost feels like you kind of want to stun that thing.
Yeah.
The tornado is super, super annoying. As you can see, Ori obviously aware that Zephyr was bot lane, so kind of weary of a potential gank here because, I mean, Shadow Fiend, one of the mid heroes that just has zero escape mechanism, and if you have enough sticky napalm stacks, it just feels like an inevitable death.
Ganking SF feels very, very good. He doesn't have... He's very snowball-y, right?
Bot
He
lane.
needs to start.
This is looking like a kill going the way of Vici, so kind of left to his own devices, and 23 Savage gets punished.
Yeah, this mid lane gank... Oh, he's almost dying to the boys. Old 11. DY's gonna block the boys. Oh, he canceled the salve!
Okay.
Salve too early. Bit of a mistake there from DY. It's going to cost Old 11 effectively 400 health. That he didn't just wait another second, and that's big because now that Wraith King is coming back to lane, he's very confident and very in a great position to just challenge. Whereas before he would have to be a little bit careful. And now the rotation's coming in from T1. They're going to find DY.
Yeah, Whitemon and Zephyr making the rotation bot. This is looking like a potential another kill onto Old 11 at the very least. You can see the fat, juicy, tanky Zephyr taking a lot of damage. He will be brought down thanks to the rotation of PYW. So it's a 1-for-1 exchange. It's like a roaming Tidehunter in this game. You don't see that every day.
The dynamic in this game is very interesting. Like, there's two heroes in this game that have good farm. Wraith King and Tiny with 27 CS.
Yeah.
Everyone else, it's getting okay now. Both Batrider and Shadow Fiend just got a decent amount of influx from some stacks, but the CS number is relatively low for what we usually see. Magnus sitting on a measly 9 here. Kuku has been very having a hard time top from that early tri-lane, and Tiny of course challenges him very well in terms of just raw last hit damage with that Quelling Blade and 85. Kuku trying to try to cut the wave, will succeed.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
As mid lane, the push continues now. Zephyr still roaming as this Tidehunter. Whitemon's going to find DY with the tomato creep. He's doing a lot of damage. I think the Hellbear Smasher ability is DY getting chased. Looks like Kuku took a tumble in the top lane and getting tipped. Oh boy. Yeah, that is not good. Kuku having a really rough time right now. And that is not something that we're used to seeing from T1. It feels like he's one of the more I mean, everybody's relatively stable, of course, but from their offlane lane
playing
perspective,
great.
very much so.
PYW.
Firefly on the PYW. Balance Strike going to keep him in place for now. Zephyr with that gush slowing down to a crawl. And with a bunch of heroes from T1.
Under attack.
Absolutely no problem for Carl. He has haste rune. He could have soloed that Monkey King, no
Radiant's
problem.
top
But
tower is
the
under
reason this
attack.
rotation is so good is that they have extra reinforcements against the defense to try to hold this
structures
T1
are
tower, and you really want to push this if you're T1. Might even see Enchantress start tanking it and get a second point in Nature's Attendance, but I guess he
Dire's
also
middle
would like to
tower
have an
is under
impetus point
attack.
at this point. No, he's going to skill it now. So 2 in the heal for Whitemon. Looking to perhaps backstab Ori. Zephyr was coming in, but
Dire's
Thunderstrike
middle
is
tower
going
is
to
under
spot
attack.
out Zephyr. He's going to take 3 Shadow Fiend raises. And Ori.
meanwhile, in top
getting
lane,
credit for that.
Poyoyo.
Poyoyo, okay, going a little bit too deep. As this tower looks to be falling, it will be a deny in favor of T1.
Got the enemy offlane tower minute 7 as Tiny.
Radiant's
But he did
middle
die.
tower is under
He
attack.
did die, but
Which is
getting
something
that
Cuckoo
tower
really
is
needed.
very
Are fortified.
unusual this early in the game.
Yeah, especially solo.
Yeah, so probably feels pretty good about
Oh,
that.
we got the
Zephyr
glimpse
CF
out.
base.
Carl at least will get his bottle back.
Radiant's courier
No, he
has been
didn't.
killed.
He didn't actually give the bottle in time.
Where is the bottle?
It should be on Tide. It's on
Tide
anybody.
doesn't have the bottle either.
Okay, it
It's in the
disappeared.
base on the courier.
Oh, okay. He
Okay,
doesn't
what's
want
going
to walk back to the mid lane, I guess. All right, well, he's got the bottle charge, Cinder. Just delayed, you know, for weather. That's a very common excuse from delivery people, I'm sure. PYW finds Whitemon in the river, gets up the balance strike with the kinetic field. This is going to be an easy one for Visha. Wait, healing up now. PYW continuing to chase. You can see the Nature's Attendance. That's the Crimson Witness, Cinderin, giving extra heal, I'm sure.
I think a bit of a mistake there from Ori. He started with the long raise. I think he needs to use the kinetic field to connect the mid raise so that he can hit the long raise afterwards, but doing them in opposite order effectively gave Whitemon a chance to escape, and he will get away. So nice escape from him there. And a very even game right now, which I think is overall pretty good for Vici Gaming. They weathered the storm against the Bat. Carl hasn't really been dominating yet. They're going to find this time Whitemon will not get away. Oh, that second raise was
A little off.
pretty much a tribute to the Breathe Fire.
The breathe fire.
Some fair play here from Ori. The 2 mid laners might need to warm up their mice a little bit, but again, inconsequential in the big picture here. Still find the kill, but the gold will go to Old 11 instead, and honestly that might end up being a blessing in disguise that he misses this raise. I think Venge's Aghanim Scepter is the single biggest item for the Dire to get in this game.
It's true.
So,
Yeah,
Ori gonna
Poyoyo
deny mid.
looking to finish his Echo Saber with another 1,000 gold or so. But yeah, you're right. The Venge Ag. I mean, do you just go straight for it these days? I guess so. He already has the Blade of Alacrity. So just treads into Ags is the choice here.
Yep.
Can't blame him for that at all. As we look for the farm on 23 Savage right now, he's going for the armlet into Deso build. Hasn't
Standard.
quite finished the armlet yet.
Heavy minus armor is pretty good against, I would say, Tiny and especially Shadow Fiend. It allows them to... You want to have a hero on this T1 lineup that bursts in lasso, so that you can find that kill during the lockdown that you have, or burst in RP. And when you have Deso as well as Armlet together with Empower, your raw damage output. We have a funny clip from the other day when T1 was playing Alliance and FNG was getting literally one-shot by Wraith King as Lion. You could reach that stage again in this game for Disruptor.
Feel like we've seen this before.
No. Well, Icon is
dies.
effectively a scout in this game, kind of playing like a bounty hunter. Trying to invade and get vision and information. Gets punished there, but could set up Carl. They have Ob Sentry though. They
do.
know Carl is approaching.
Yeah.
And they're
Yes, it's
trying
just a
to
trap.
bait him. There's the glimpse.
Oh, the glimpse back into the static storm kinetic field combo. This is going to be a really big kill for Vici. And Carl getting absolutely punished.
Yeah. Goes to DY though. Disruptor will finally be getting his boots of speed.
Wow, that's quite the purchase.
DY has been pretty poor this game. It's 11 minutes in for boots, and honestly a pretty important item for Disruptor. This hero is all about keeping up so you can reach the glimpse. So feels good for him to get that. 23 Savage is getting eyed up by Old 11 here as well, but they're not going to go for anything just yet.
Yeah, and he is... Actually, he just put a point into his ult now.
Shannon, we're 11 minutes in.
Nope, it's not time yet, Synderen.
It's trivia.
PYW gets lassoed. That's going to be the cancel of the TP. So Carl looking to have, I believe that's his first kill of the game here. Sorry, he's 2-1 now.
Yep. A nice pickup on a support there. Not the biggest kill ever, but obviously going to take what he can get with these travels. Has to expend the lasso, which means for the next minute and a half, can't really find a core with it, but for the most part, Carl right now just wants to push out waves and farm and get toward the BKB, which is a true game changer against the Dire lineup. Still needs to respect the Venge swap, but that's pretty much the only problem he'll have for a bit until the right clicks become too powerful.
And we have the glimpse out, 23 Savage. It's not going to be a rune to take because it is top. And Carl gets it. It is the haste rune. Cuckoo's still working on... He actually did not finish the Helm of the Dominant, did he? He's just going straight for the Blink Dagger, despite having the Helm of Iron Will. Already built there. Is Old 11 going to be caught out? Oh, the swap out. He's going to keep him alive now. Or he actually pops a Requiem of Souls, mostly for zoning purposes, but Whitemon takes heavy damage. Will live, though. Ravage comes out. The Static Storm on top of it. It's a little bit too late. And match into the Skewer. 2 dead for Vici, as they are now on the run. It looks like Ori is next on the list, Synderen. 3 dead. Very good fight for T1. Looks like PYW will be the 4th if they can catch him here. Zephyr looking for the high 5, but PYW not looking to reciprocate here. Oh, Flame Break off of the tree. Pick pull still good, almost got out. Yeah, pick pull not quite good enough now. He would need like 110% movement speed buff on that one.
Yeah, that was just kind of panic mode from Vici Gaming there. I think if they keep their cool a little bit more, they can find a better Requiem than that one, but honestly, he was trying to save Old 11 so they could reset out. Just not happening against this Magnus Batrider combination. They just catch up, find picks, and 23 Savage gets a lot of gold out of this as well, finding a tower. He got the kill on Old 11. So now making a significant gap down to the Tiny here. 1,500 gold ahead. Glimpse.
Back
oh, look who it is.
Indeed, cancel TP. Not tanky enough yet.
It's only level 5, 14 minutes in. Gave over the tome to Tide, so Zephyr's level 8.5.
Well, the Ravage did pay off, to be fair.
Absolutely.
Carl was taking out a pretty big stack of creeps there. And just working on his BKB. It's funny how the Batrider build has kind of changed over the years. It used to just be about getting Blink first.
Yeah.
Then there was an Aether Lens build with Ags. There was Drums. Now it's just pretty much every game is Boots of Travel into BKB.
Travel's BKB is just an insane build in this patch. It is, in my opinion, almost always the best build. Sometimes you can deviate from it if there's a lot of BKB counters or if you feel like you can't really connect, but it's just, this hero is completely based around movement inside a fight where you get on top of heroes, and these are the perfect items, right? You want the speed and you want the immunity so you can move freely. So logically it just makes a lot of sense to build the hero like this. And interestingly, it took quite a while before players really caught on to this build. I don't remember who pioneered it in this patch, but we saw a couple of players still go for the Blink 4 staff for a while until eventually now we reached a point where almost every bat will default to this style of play.
Mm-hmm. So we now have a smoke from Vici, but I'm not sure if they're going to catch anybody. Although 23 Savage is in the general area, but looks like he's going to the bottom jungle in all likelihood. So just be more of a warding expedition for Vici. So the triangle is now envisioned for them. 23 Savage, top of the net worth right now by 1,000 difference actually between him and Poyoyo. He does have his Echo Saber now.
A little bit. It was almost 1,500 2 minutes ago. So he has caught up a little bit on the Tiny, but definitely Wraith King is in a great position. DY with the Glimpse, he's still gonna get
Great Fire Blast. Still connects though into the Flame Break. Static Storm on top of himself.
Nice try.
Not gonna save him.
But no cigar.
And now Deso officially online. I feel like he just finished his armlet.
All right, I know you're about to burst in anticipation of the trivia, but you have to wait a little bit longer. Whitemon gonna get open bottom. Old 11.
Kraken still activates, but Avatos from Poyoyo is enough. Old 11 though is gonna get the swap off. That's a little bit extra damage mitigation now. 23 Savage. Oh, the right click, not quite enough, and now the Requiem of Souls with the beer. Double kill for Poyoyo. This is gonna be the first life for 23 Savage. Wukong's command is inside Avatos again. 23 Savage armlet toggles, but there's the magic missile. Triple kill for Poyoyo. Yo, and Vici Gaming win that fight in spades.
It is so important that Bat Rider is involved if these fights break out and just couldn't find a way to really get anything done there. Carl is at least going to finish his BKB momentarily, so that will help for T1. Alright, Shannon, you've been asking for it all game. What is the passive ability of, what's it called? Chipped Vest called?
Oh, Return? There's no way.
It has no name.
Oh.
It is called passive. They forgot to give it a name. It literally says passive.
I mean, they could use return because retaliate is now the ability for Centaur, so it's available for the taking. Yeah, this isn't technically trivia. Is supposed to be it's an interesting anecdote. This is literally just a fact.
I found this pretty interesting. It's like the only one of the neutral items that has a passive ability that says passive and then doesn't have a name.
God, I don't even know what I don't want to know what you do in your free time.
The name itself is passive.
Poyoyo, looking for Zephyr. Balance Strike sets it up. Shadow Blade Frog.
Okay.
For the Avatos.
All right.
And the tree toss.
Good damage. No siege creep though, so don't think they'll be doing much to this bottom tower, and mid tower as well has been pushed out by T1. So effectively, all you got there was a 4 tide. Not the end of the world for T1.
Yeah.
And they have approached their first very strong timing, in my opinion. Bat Rider is now way stronger than he was 2 minutes ago, and you want to start playing around that as soon as you get the reincarnation up. Maybe try to find a fight close to Roche. Wraith King obviously very adamant.
Carl wants to start this fight. There's the lasso.
Swap.
The swap immediately. The great counter from Old 11. Whitemon first to die again, as is tradition in this game.
Is under attack.
Yeah. That's something we really didn't mention, but obviously Venge is just generally a good counter against Bat Rider if you're in the vicinity.
Definitely didn't mention that, both me and the panel.
Nope.
So
I don't think that's ever been mentioned before in Dota.
Good that we got that highlight.
I think I just created that.
Yeah. I made this.
I made this.
Radiant are scanning.
Cuckoo, by the way, does have his Blink Dagger, so very late, based on what we've been seeing from Magnus's as of late. But better late than never, Synderen.
Yep.
See if they can set something up. But Reincarnation, like you said, not quite online yet for 23 Savage. Did he die in the level 1 ult?
I think so.
Yeah, so
it must have been, yeah.
45 seconds to go still.
Yeah. But yeah, you probably wait for the next lasso here for Carl, and then you're aiming to take a fight outside the Roche pit, get Roche with Wraith King, but you have to pay attention to this Venge. And the problem is, for Bat, you can't just kill Venge first because she has Ags now. She'll still have a swap again. So even if you kill her without lassoing, you're gonna have to kill her twice before you can use lasso. It's kind of a big problem for Carl.
Yeah.
Wonder if this is the kind of game where you even consider a Lincoln specifically for that reason, just so that you can go on another hero. But so far, Carl is aiming for the default shard, which is obviously an incredible item on this hero, giving you 2 flame break charges as well as sticky napalm on both of them.
Yep, and Old 11 not just done with the Ag Synderen, on his way for an Aether Lens, so we'll have the extra cast range to work with. And for people that haven't watched Venge in a while, the swap gives 30% damage mitigation for both Venge and her ally for a couple seconds. So it's really good spell.
Yeah, 30 plus 10 per level. He's currently level 12, so that's 2 points in the ult, so 40%, and will ultimately be 50.
Okay.
So very, very strong. This is going to be a high ground push. High ground mid tier 1 tower, of course. A very little high ground. I know I'm just trying to save this. That was the wrong word. You know, sometimes you can play it off. They're trying to push tier 1 Suns fan. It didn't work, but they find Zephyr.
Yep, here's swap. Static Storm on top of the Tide Hunter. Old 11 sets things up again. That's going to be a death of Whitemon as well, in case you were wondering. So 2 kills. Vici pretty healthy. And again, Old 11 doesn't really care that he's dying here. Carl gets credit for that thanks to the Flame Break shard.
Are you really dead as Venge if you still have your Ghost Form?
I'm dead, maybe. I don't know. Carl, top of BKB, getting the Firefly off Poyoyo. Oh, was that the lasso used? I think it might have been Krakened off.
Ran out of mana.
Okay, well, Kraken's on his own team, so that was trivia. You missed it.
Good trivia.
Oh.
Has Tiny ever had a spell that Tidehunter currently has? The answer is no.
Right. That's very good. Maybe in another... Craggy Exterior, though, that is a very interesting ability from past times. I could have used that as a potential trivia for you, Cinder, but it's not to be.
I definitely don't remember Craggy Exterior.
It's one
a
of the
very
best.
iconic spell that everybody loved.
I actually did like it.
Of course you did.
I just seem to be
Actually,
in the
I
minority.
kind of liked it as well.
I mean, they did make it. They brought it back briefly with the shard,
Yeah.
but now his shard is just amazingly good right now.
Yep,
So,
for sure.
yep, Carl in the Firefly right now. DY, he whips himself, gets off the cliffs inside the kinetic field. Flamebreak goes up. Yo-Yo's in the area with the Anatos, and the easy kill for Vici again. They've created a 2K net worth lead now. Boundless Strike. Looks like they'll take that Satyr Tormentor to the grave. Yeah, this is, look, I don't know. I know it's only a 2K net worth lead for Vici, but it feels like a really hard game for T1 in general.
I agree. I think it's challenging because they...
Ooh. Trying to find the jumping Monkey King as Roche is already at half HP. Remember, they don't have their Bat Rider, which is the mid laner. Wukong's command used just for zoning capability here. And yeah, Vici Gaming will get the first Roche of the game.
Interestingly, they give it to the Tiny. I thought they were actually going to give this over to Ori. I find Aegis on Shadow Fiend to often be more valuable than on Tiny. Tiny's first life is so difficult to get through anyway for T1. Now they will obviously just be targeting the SF instead. I mean, Tiny even has a Satanic, but maybe the logic is, you know what? We're planning to go high ground with this Aegis.
Right.
Just as long as Venge is in position for the swap against Lasso and Skewer, you can probably hit the tower as Tiny. But yeah, that Skewer is something you really need to keep in mind. And of course, Horn Toss probably on the horizon for Cuckoo.
Yeah.
500 gold away from that if he wants it.
But keep in mind, because this game, it's still really early. Level 20 talent is the big one for Magnus with the extra range. That's when we see it kind of get to the point of like, what is this?
Yeah.
This is like a global skill almost at this point. I mean, it's not the old Aghanim Scepter with basically no cooldown, right? On the Skewer.
That was wild.
We're going to see the jump from 23 Savage. All 11. That's the first life. Gets skewered back into the fray again. And they'll take him out officially.
He's dead.
And I'm not going to lie. It does feel bad to have to do that in certain cases, but when you do it, it feels good at the same time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You have to do it, I think.
It's just satisfying knowing that they actually have to come back from the fountain. Have you seen them actually bait it when, like, with the timer, where they get respawned on top of the illusion and they're just surrounded? Those are the best moments. Haven't really seen that in pro play too much, though. As 23 Savage and company are smoked up. As he is getting closer to his BKB, still about a recipe away. And Carl obviously has his BKB working for a Shiva's now, has the plate mail already in his inventory. See, this is warded up here. Carl not going to find anybody though. And now counter smoke from Vici, knowing that I think they did spot the original smoke from T1. That is the shard from Disruptor. So Thunderstrike applying extra movement speed and attack speed to the target briefly. And it flips back Whitemon. Wouldn't be a start of the fight without a Whitemon death this game. So 5 versus 4. That's not even including the Aegis. It's a huge swap. My God, that range must be the Aether Lens online as Carl has to pop his BKB. Just barely gets out, but at the end of the day, Vici didn't really expend much.
No, just the swap. And keep in mind there, that was he BKB'd instantly, right? This was raw physical damage, and he has a plate mail. That is concerning that he doesn't have the sustain to really stay into the fight against these extremely hard right-clicking heroes. So Carl will struggle to perform bat duties in these games. In this game at 25 minutes in, just. That is very, very much a problem. I wonder what he's going to do to try to salvage that. He's obviously eyeing up a Shiva's Guard now, which is one of the best solutions, but it might not cut it. I don't know what you get next then. Aeon Disc?
Yeah,
sure.
Maybe. All right, talk to me from T1's perspective, because I myself am struggling to see how they can kind of get the grip back on this game. Again, the net worth is not that far off. It's just... It's such a hard lineup to fight into, especially with the Vengeful Spirit Ags already being online, and you have so much of this minus armor coming out from Vici Gaming.
Yeah, you have to, again, I think you somehow have to find a fight where either you get on the Venge and force her out so she can't get the swap on the Lasso, or you have to kill her twice and go from there. But again, just talking about it makes me feel like, how do you set that up, right? It's really, really tough for them to accomplish. Taking some good damage, but also dealing some. Almost took down 3/4 of that tower in 4 attacks with the Venge Aura, of course.
Still a minute to go for that
Huge
Aegis.
amount of base damage to the Tiny.
My God, absolutely destroying that tower, but a big swap onto the Bat Rider. Plus the BKB again, stacks on onto 2, but there's the Lasso, and they find the Tiny. This is just going to be the Aegis if they do so. He's Satanic, up and is perfectly healthy for now, as the right clicks have come in for 23 Savage. That is Reincarnation out. Requiem nicely timed so 2 dead with basically no response from T1. 5 versus 3, and with a tiny, that means buildings will be going down, Synderen.
T1 just have no solution to this right now. They did their best in that fight. It wasn't enough. They never found an RP. Again, whenever someone gets swapped in like this from the bench, it just gets really difficult for Kuku to do what he wants.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack.
That's going to be 2 sets of racks. They can't go for Megas just because there's not, just because there's a tier 2 tower still remaining.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And the Aegis is gone, so Vici Gaming can kind of reset and come to grips with this massive lead that they accumulated now in this game.
And already PYW is heading up top.
PYW almost done with his AC, 300 away.
He's super strong. I don't know if Vici Gaming want to slow this down and wait for next Roche. I think it's the right play, theoretically speaking. Take control of the triangle, get some good vision out, hog the area. When Roche spawns, you go and fight it. You're going to have Monkey King ult again. You're going to have Requiem again at that time. Early Roche is in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. If they're feeling themselves, they could just go for it. But there is the connected risk here that Horn Toss Skewer, if the swap isn't instantaneous from Old 11, you could find a positioning advantage that could get you a core kill on SF or Tiny, and that's when you can build something.
Top tower is under attack.
Carlos pinging the Tiny. Oh,
Still no reincarnation for 30
Radiant's top
seconds.
tower has fallen.
Did he just 4-shot the tower? I mean, he has AC and Venge Aura. He hits for 500. 500.
A lot of damage, whatever the hell it is. There's the Horn Toss, like you were talking about, Static Storm used for zoning capability. You can see Thunderstrike applied as there's a swap back from Old 11, so Tiny is super safe. Balance Strike now for the Bad Rider. Looks like he's broken, trying to get out of the Wukong's command. Will be successful, but the swap again, and 23 Savage is dead.
Radiant's top barracks are
That is mega creeps for Vici Gaming, as it looks like they are on the way to continuing to play in TI-10. Oh, big RP, but the Skewer back on only 2 heroes, and brought down simply with the right clicks of Poyoyo. Buyback now from Kuku. Gets glimpsed back into the fray, gets off the Horn Top, but brought down again. That's a dieback now, as GG is called. T1 is out of TI-10, and Vici Gaming goes on to face IG in the next round.
What a godly Venge pick that was. That was absolutely incredible. Really, Old 11 stepping up in this game. He came out of the laning stage, he got a fast Axe. It counterplays Bad Rider pretty much the entire game. See a little bit of